Thalen Birch was a man who preferred trees to people. He lived deep in the verdant expanse, a frontier world where settlers carved out lives among colossal red-bark pines and mountains veined with glowing minerals. His cabin stood miles from the nearest outpost, exactly the way he liked it. Solitude made sense. Trees didn't judge, didn't gossip, didn't demand anything except steady hands and sharp tools. But even a solitary man needed help sometimes. The logging season this year had been brutal. A fungal blight spread across the forest edge, forcing Thalen to fell more trees than usual to save the healthy grove. His back ached. His tools were wearing thin, and the winter storms would arrive soon. So when a traveling merchant arrived at the outpost offering goblin laboris, small, hardy creatures supposedly bred for manual work, Thalen made a decision he hadn't made in years. He bought help. Or so he thought. The merchant delivered a trembling figure bound at the wrists, covered head to toe in a rough sackcloth hood. The creature was small, light, and silent except for soft breathing. "She don't speak much," the merchant said. "Goblin runt. Cheap, but strong enough. Won't give you trouble." Thalen didn't like chains or cruelty, but he was too exhausted and too desperate to ask questions. He tossed a handful of credits onto the merchant's cart, loaded the hooded figure into his wagon, and began the long, bumpy ride home. The forest shadows lengthened. The red suns dipped behind the horizon, and the goblin sat motionless beside him. Thalen felt uneasy, though he couldn't say why. When they finally reached the cabin, he cut the ropes binding her wrists. The figure flinched back, as though expecting a strike. Thalen frowned. "Easy. You're free to move." No answer. He hesitated, then reached forward and gently lifted the sack hood. And froze. Not a goblin. Not even close. The girl beneath the hood was something else entirely. Her skin was pale teal, like water shimmering under moonlight. Her hair, long, soft, and iridescent, shifted colors with each breath, transitioning from silver to soft violet. Her eyes, large, luminous, and slit-pupiled, glowed faintly in the dim cabin light. This wasn't a goblin. She was beautiful. Terrified, but beautiful. And unmistakably alien. Thalen swallowed, lowering his voice. "I was told you were a laborer, but you're someone else." She backed against the wall like a cornered animal. "Please," she whispered, voice trembling, strangely melodic. "Do not hurt me." Thalen felt his stomach twist. "I'm not going to hurt you. Whoever sold you, he tricked us both." She blinked rapidly, as if trying to understand his tone. "My name is Thalen," he said carefully. "What's yours?" She hesitated. "Riley." The name drifted from her lips like wind through chimes. And in that moment, Thalen realized how deeply wrong all of this was. Middle, a stranger in the woods. Riley knew nothing of manual labor, but she learned quickly, almost too quickly. She moved with a strange grace, her steps silent, her hands delicate yet capable. She watched everything with careful, calculating eyes, as if always mapping her surroundings. She wasn't a servant. She wasn't a worker. She was hiding. Piece by piece, Thalen discovered her story. Riley wasn't from verdant expanse, or any settled world. She was a Zephyri, a nomadic cosmic species rarely seen by humans. Her people were wanderers between star systems, never staying long, fearing discovery. They possessed unusual abilities, light manipulation, harmonic resonance, and deep sensitivity to emotion. Her caravan ship had crashed after an attack by raiders. She was taken, sold, and eventually passed down the line of traders until she ended up on this frontier planet. I did not know what he planned to do with me, she said one night by the fire. I only knew I would rather vanish than return to chains. Phelan's jaw tightened. You won't see chains here. Not ever. She looked up at him slowly, searching his face for deception. You mean that? I do. And for the first time, she smiled, small, shy, and warm enough to prick something in Phelan's chest that he hadn't felt in years. Days passed. Riley helped around the cabin, not because she had to, but because she wanted to repay kindness with kindness. She hummed strange celestial melodies while sweeping the porch. She healed Phelan's bruised shoulder with a soft bioluminescent glow. She studied the towering trees with reverence, whispering that their voices were calmer than most humans. Phelan found himself watching her more often than he admitted. Her laughter, soft and rare, echoed like stardust drifting through the cracks of his solitary world. But peace never lasted long on the frontier. Word spread. Rumors grew. A merchant claimed a valuable non-human had escaped into the woods. And soon, others came looking. Phelan first sensed them when the forest went silent. No rustle, no birdsong. Riley sensed them too. Her pupils narrowed. Her hair darkened to a defensive shade of indigo. They've found me, she whispered. The hunters. The conflict. The hunters arrive. Night fell, thick and suffocating. 3 ships landed in the clearing, sleek, black, and unmistakably dangerous. Raiders. The kind who trafficked exotic species across the Verge systems. Figures in armored suits stepped out, rifles glinting. Hand over the girl, their leader barked. We know she's here. Phelan stood in front of the cabin door, axe in hand. She isn't property, he growled. And she isn't yours. The raider laughed. We bought her fair and square. Step aside, lumberjack. No. The leader raised his weapon. But before he could fire, the air vibrated. A hum, rising into a harmonic frequency that prickled the skin. The trees shivered. The ground pulsed softly beneath their boots. Riley stepped out from behind Phelan, her entire body glowing with luminescent threads of light. Her voice was steady, full of strength Phelan had never heard in her before. You will leave. The raiders laughed, until the light around Riley intensified, bending and warping the air. The harmonics swelled into a force that shook the clearing like a storm. The raiders stumbled, clutching their helmets. One collapsed, stunned by the vibrations. Another shouted, She's activating a Scifi resonance. Fall back. Panic broke. Fear won. The raiders scrambled back into their ships, engines screaming as they fled into the night sky. The forest fell silent again. Phelan exhaled shakily and lowered his axe. Riley's glow faded. She nearly collapsed, but Phelan caught her. You saved us, he whispered. No, she murmured against his chest. You protected me first. Her hand trembled as it pressed over his heart. My people fear humans. We hide from them. But you showed me something else. Phelan swallowed hard. Riley, when this started, I thought I bought a goblin slave. But you're so much more than anything I expected. More than I deserved. Her eyes softened, shimmering like nebulae. You did not buy me, Thalen Birch. You freed me. Ending. 2 hearts, 1 future. The raiders never returned. Riley chose to stay. Not because she was trapped. Not because she owed him. But because she wanted to. She helped Thalen rebuild his cabin, weaving luminous threads into the wood that made it glow softly at night. She walked through the forest as if she belonged there, whispering harmonies that calmed animals and regrew sick trees. She taught Thalen star maps no human had ever seen. And in return, Thalen taught her what it meant to have a home. A real one. One evening, months later, they sat together on the porch as twin moons rose over the forest. Riley leaned her head on Thalen's shoulder, her hair glowing like captured starlight. I was alone among the stars, she whispered. Drifting. Lost. And then I fell to this world, and found you. Thalen wrapped an arm around her, heart full. I thought I chose solitude, he said. But maybe I was just waiting. For what? For someone worth sharing the quiet with. Riley smiled, soft and luminous. In that moment, Thalen realized something simple and profound. The forest was no longer silent. The cabin no longer empty. His life no longer solitary. All because a frightened girl from the stars had stepped into it. And because he had chosen, without hesitation, to protect her. Their lives intertwined like roots of the same tree. Not because of fate, but because a simple lumberjack believed that kindness could change everything. And he was right.